Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next YouTube video, and this is going to be my review of The Search Part 2. And here you can see I did manage to get the actual copy of the book today, and here it is. Obviously pretty nice cover. Here's the back. You can see it costs €10.99, and yeah, it's the same as the US price, so that's cool. As well as that, I also managed to pick up Core Endgame, the follow-up to Revolution, and I'll also be reviewing that one today as well, so expect another video today. But anyway, this video is focused on this book, the second part of the Search series, which is a three-part series, just obviously covering the fate of Zuko's mother. So, it's going to be a non-spoiler review. We'll spoil it and discuss it completely on the podcast this Sunday, so definitely check out that show. It's going to be a non-spoiler review because this is the official release date of the book. I don't want to spoil everything in this review. So I'll start with the art, and what else is there to say about the art? It's Team Gurihiru as usual. Sasaki and Kawano are the team, and they do excellent work here. Because they're in this place called the Forgetful Valley. You can sort of see it on the kind of back cover of the book there, that they really captured a kind of eerie spiritual place that is the Forgetful Valley. They do spirit stuff really well in this book, and I think the cover really highlights how well they've gotten facial expressions there, and that they really are improving from book to book, and it's just really exceptional throughout. And there's just a lot of great stuff throughout this book, and they do it really well. Fight scenes are done very nicely, and overall they continue to improve from book to book. There's no drop in quality from Team Gurihiru, and they're definitely up there with probably one of the best kind of creative art teams on any comic out there, and very impressed with them. So that's all I'm really going to say about the art. It's exceptional. Pretty much perfect marks. I didn't really see many errors in this one. It was good. Jean Luen Yang continues on the writing, obviously, and I think again there is a marked improvement. The Search was a big improvement over The Promise, and Part 2 I think continued to show him really growing into the role as the main Avatar comic writer. There's some fantastic references to other things. All I'll say is that, not to spoil too much, the character of Bashir from Avatar The Last Airbender, one of the Rough Rhinos, appears, and we get a little bit of backstory on him, and it's really well done. That's clever writing, utilising a kind of underutilised character from the show to make this book work better, instead of just inventing a new character. As well as that, Kunio, one of the newly introduced Firebender characters from The Promise, he gets a nice backstory as well. Well, not quite a backstory, just explanation about why he's in the Fire Nation colonies. That's explained here. Really well done in terms of utilising stuff introduced in the comics as well as the stuff introduced in the show. So, huge improvement, and that's just in references. The story is also becoming very layered in terms of the mysteries grow ever more in this book, because this is the part 2 of a 3-part series. So they're going to introduce all of the mysteries, answer a few little things, and that's what it does. A few things are answered, but a lot of mysteries are left open to be revealed, explored in the final part. And I think in that sense this is a better part 2 than The Promise part 2, because it remains focused on the story that it's telling, while The Promise Part 2 took a big break almost to tell basically all of the Toph story in just Part 2. There was a bit in Part 1, 2 and 3, but for the most part the whole Toph plot in The Promise was in Part 2, and it kind of took away from the middle part of the Promise story as a whole. In this, they kind of do that a bit, in that we do get introduced to a few new characters, but they're always there to further along this plot, the Zuko and Azula and co searching for their mother, the mystery of that, the Forgetful Valley and stuff like that. And more than that, they're probably some of the best newly introduced comic characters yet. I really liked Corey in The Promise, and I really like the characters introduced here as well. Misu, Rafa, Noren, and Noriko, as well as Ki. So like, there's a lot of newly introduced characters, and they don't get an incredible amount of like page time, but what they do with it is really well done. Um, in terms of what actually happens in the book, again, as I said, it's a part two. Nothing was going to be incredibly revealed, but again, there's a good 20-25 pages of Ursa flashbacks in here that I'm going to say it right here. They explain exactly what happened to Azulon. They explain how he dies. That's the big reveal in terms of the flashbacks. We get we move past the point, from Avatar: The Last Airbender where we last saw Ursa. We get a few kind of moments after that, which is good. It doesn't reveal anything just yet, but sets up a lot of theories, sets up part three where it's going to go, and works very nicely. So the flashbacks here are very good. A lot of exploration of the Ursa Ozai relationship. The younger Azula Zuko relationship is explored very nicely too, as well as some of the kind of parent and sibling relationship as well. So that's very nicely done. Ozai gets a bit of a spotlight with Bashir and stuff like that. So yeah, there's, and as well as that, some the mystery begins to link into the present day stuff as well, which I think will set up a lot of stuff. And you'll hear a lot of theories when we discuss on the podcast on Sunday. So again, as I said, check that out for kind of spoiler kind of stuff. In terms of what Zuko and Aang and so do, obviously the reveal of part one was that Zuko found a letter that hinted that he may not actually be Ozai's son, and his reaction is very interesting here. It's not quite as you would expect, but what happens makes complete sense for Zuko. I won't spoil all of it, but basically he feels a sense of relief that he's not Ozai's son, and that explains a lot of stuff that happened in his life, and it works for me really nicely. It's explored more than that, but nothing is revealed either way as to whether for sure it's true or false. So that's going to be set up to be revealed in part 3 as well. But I liked it, I really did. Azula continues to be one of the kind of most interesting characters because there's no set path. Whoa, that was a sudden bird noise outside. There's no exact set path for where she's going in these comics because, you know, she's obviously very mentally unstable. She's seeing visions of her mother. Her mother is suggesting that her destiny doesn't lie in ascending to the throne, but somewhere else. And then you wonder, like, is this the good side of Azula trying to come out to her mother, or is there something more spiritual involved here? Is she actually seeing visions that's not just related to her mental state? Add to that, you know, the fact that this book is really heavily hinting at, you know, are Azula and Zuko going to get into a better like sibling relationship than before? That's explored pretty nicely as well. And overall, yeah, again, as I said, where is Azula going? Are they ultimately going down the road of redemption? Because as of now, they haven't really done anything to suggest that she's making a huge change. There's subtle changes going on, but nothing massive, and I like that. But yeah, like, where is she going? The only thing I think that needs to happen is that she does need to meet her mother and actually have a conversation with her to get over the issues that she clearly has with her. And that's all that I kind of can see kind of happening in the future of Azula in these books. So she's a very nice mystery going forward. Katang gets some nice exploration here. I think a lot of Katang fans will really like what happens with the two. Sokka, again, you know, there's no arc for him in this book, but it makes sense for him to be there. And that's one of the big things I've seen people complain about in relation to this book. Like, why is Aang, Katara, Sokka there? You know, there's no arc for them. But I kind of hate that line of thinking, because just because a character is there with the main group doesn't mean they need to have a huge character arc, because it makes no sense for, in the middle of this Zuko, Azula, Ursa focused story, that Sokka have this massive story of discovery or something like that. He's just there because Aang needed to go with Zuko because Zuko's his best friend. Katara went with Aang because he's her boyfriend, and Sokka went because he has to protect Katara. And all of these characters make sense to be there because Azula is very unpredictable, and she needs to be kind of monitored around the clock. So having multiple people there works, and I'm fine with that. And I don't like that sort of criticism on this book at all. Anything else I want to mention? Other than that, some very nice mystery setup when they eventually go into this forgetful forest, which is the place basically on the background here. You can sort of see they were basically the spirit stuff from part 1 explored a bit more. We get a lot of reveals, but also some mystery setups. There's some nice stuff overall. So I think that's where I'm going to end my review. Again, I have a kind of more in-depth written review up on the site. The link will be in the description again. And again, podcast, we're going to go through this book page by page, panel by panel, discuss everything, put out theories on the podcast, Avatar Online podcast this Sunday. So check that out, check out my written review, and I hope you enjoyed this kind of non-spoiler video review of The Search Part 2. And obviously, Part 3 is going to be out October 30th. This book came out today, July 10th. In comic book stores, it's already out on iBooks digitally. It's going to be out July 23rd in regular bookstores, and also Amazon will ship it to have it out for that date as well. So that's all the information I think I need to get out to you about this one. Highly recommended from me. Really good book. Continuing the series very nicely. But thanks for watching this video review, and bye.